We have a massive update for the LA Lakers as obviously D'Angelo Russell's been thrown out in trade discussions left, right, and center over the past year, but he's kind of changing the narrative a little bit with his ridiculous play as of late. And Dejounte Murray is obviously the key piece that LA has been after, leading up into this year's trade deadline. He's been on the market from the Atlanta Hawks, but things seem to be changing with D'Angelo Russell's sort of remarkable play and what's going on over there in Atlanta. So we have a lot of things to sink our teeth into in this video. But before we dive into that, folks, over 90% of our viewers are not subscribed to the channel, and we want to deliver all of the latest LA Lakers news to you. So if you want to stay up to date with everything regarding this team, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. But Jaya, things are going crazy right now for the Lakers, and particularly D'Angelo Russell. So let's break it down. What's going on with this squad?
I mean, D'Lo was on a crazy hot streak. I guess once he heard that he was on the chopping block, decided to pick it up and change the narrative. But yeah, want to go straight into the report and then we can talk about it. So basically, right now it looks like that league sources are saying there has been little to no trade dialogue in recent days between the Hawks and the Lakers when it comes to former All-Star Dejounte Murray. Trade talks tend to be fluid this time of year and can be easily sparked up again. But one source free from the talks termed the idea of Murray landing with the Lakers before the deadline as of this Sunday as unrealistic. So it looks like something happening this week with D'Lo and Murray is not looking very likely, which is a crazy switch up considering the past weeks and weeks of rumors of D'Angelo possibly getting traded, a lot of that having to do with his terrible contract. But right now, it looks like he's making sure he is unexpendable, even considering the terrible terms that his contract is on. That's making it look like he could get traded.
Well, his contract was kind of built to potentially be flipped, to potentially be dealt, and obviously he's a guy that, again, when he's playing like this, that contract looks nice. It looks good, but again, yearly, the Lakers have some flexibility, have some stuff along those lines, but bringing in Dejounte Murray seemed like a significant upgrade given how he's performed, the historic, performances he's had with the San Antonio Spurs, averaging nearly a triple-double. But Stein ended up going on to say that previous talks between the teams, Atlanta has been resistant in the inclusion of Russell unless a third team could be found to take on his contract, which obviously, as you mentioned, is close to $19 million. And given the fact he was performing not great as of late, and particularly in reference to the playoffs last year, which we know he really struggled. Schroeder kind of overtook him in those playoff race. Even though it's a shorter term deal, it is a decent amount of money. Again, a very tradable contract to match with a Dejounte Murray type of player. But the Lakers were initially said to be willing to pick up the package of Russell with a first round pick in 2029 and a first round pick swap in exchange for Murray, with Austin Reaves completely off limits. So that pursuit appears to have been dialed back with some of Russell's play as of late. Now, again, D'Lo's a guy that the highs are absolutely remarkable. He's a beast. He can score out there. He can facilitate. He can do a lot of things on the offensive end for the Lakers. But again, there's streakiness with D'Lo. There are things that sort of come along with it. So, when he's riding like this, it's tough to even comprehend. Trading multiple firsts just to bring in Dejounte Murray. Now, we'll compare the stats. We'll break down all those types of things, but it's not just LA side where things are kind of getting wild here now at this point, as apparently the Hawks have been, messing around a little bit, are finding out with Dejounte Murray. The Lakers are going to take assets off the table if Atlanta continues to play coy. They know it's the best offer that Atlanta will receive, according to Anthony Irwin. So, I mean, D'Lo's been playing well. Dejounte Murray's kind of tanking his value a little bit. Again, a ludicrous package potentially being asked from the Atlanta Hawks right now. But how are you feeling about these potential trade wins and everything that's been going on with these sort of changes that have gone on?
I mean, I feel like every time I talk about trades, I sound like the Grinch because I'm just so anti-trading. Like any player on the Lakers, like if you've been watching our videos, you know that I am such a fan of this roster.
Mhm.
And specifically with D'Lo, I've been like heavy on the D'Lo train. I am so against trading him. We'll get into like actual stats on that later, besides just my personal emotional attachment to him. But basically, like I really just think the Lakers should continue focusing on players we have built up. And with D'Lo, we initially got him so many years ago. I was so sad to see him leave when he first said, and was so happy when he came back to us. And I think it's really awesome for us to have some kind of homegrown talent with having D'Lo, and
Mhm.
especially some of our other players like Reaves, who really developed into stars having been on the Lakers. And I think just trading for talent that has been developed by other teams and just again hasn't grown with the Lakers is kind of cheap and like almost devaluing our own ability to, once again, develop players. And so I'm a huge fan of just keeping players on that end. And obviously, since it's the Lakers, people are always going to want to come to the Lakers. We are undeniably the team with the most clout in the league, the most star power. And it's easy to see why players want to come, and why we get so many just star players coming to us, regardless of us having developed them or not. And I think we should kind of switch that narrative away because it is such an easy trap to fall into. And again, just focus on our homegrown players. And D'Lo is one of those. So, like I said, so is Reaves. And then as for on the Hawks side, it looks like the Hawks are pretty like trigger happy almost to kind of get rid of Murray. He hasn't been great.
Gone.
They want him gone. Like their double guard thing that they have going on with Trae Young is not looking great for them. So I do think that the Lakers have an advantage here in that they could kind of maybe get away with giving the Hawks less than what they want because they are so trigger happy.
Yeah, with that going on, and again, it seems like head coach Quinn Snyder, I don't have the screenshot pulled up, is kind of trying to trace back that a little bit at this point, saying, oh no, we should keep Dejounte Murray, doing some posturing in the media to combat all the stuff that's gone out. But, with a lot of things you said, again, keeping the vibes, keeping those LA guys back with the team, definitely as a fan, you want to see the guys that, again, were drafted by the squad, again, they left, played for Brooklyn, Golden State, all these different places, but it's cool to see him, come back, return, had those cool covers with Kobe in those Slam magazines and things along those lines, and you're not the only one. In terms of people that want to keep D'Lo back at this point, because, again, he's a runner-up for Player of the Week recently in the Western Conference, and LeBron recently had some comments regarding, how well he's been playing, and we know how LeBron has influence in terms of the decisions that the front office makes, and when he's given credit to players in the media, in these interviews, and everything that's going on, that's going to have an impact into whether or not a guy is going to get traded. But again, there are question marks about D'Lo, about is this just a random hot streak where we know he can go nuclear on the offensive end and then it'll cool down in like March and hopefully not the playoffs if we do end up keeping him. But this season, in regards to numbers, D'Lo, again, is only 27 years old, close to 28, will be 28 in like 20 days, but still a young guy in this league, averaging 17, 2 rebounds, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists. Again, the ball's in LeBron James' hand a lot. Anthony Davis is here on this roster, so he's not going to have crazy numbers, but he has been going nuclear as of late, if you want to break this down here.
Yeah, totally. I mean, right now in the last 7 games, I believe, basically, since he got put back into the starting rotation, which is a whole another subject, but I mean, D'Lo has been significantly more consistent since he kind of found his way back into our lineup. But basically, he is averaging almost 10. Oh my God, I'm fumbling my numbers right here.
28. It's a bit small out there on the Zoom screen. Yeah. 28 points per game, 6 assists, and shooting over 54% from behind the three-point line, which is just astronomical numbers. He is going,
which is actually higher than Trae Young's current percentage. So, and otherwise he has some pretty similar stats to Trae Young. And so right now he is performing at all-star level, which is absolutely ridiculous for somebody like D'Lo.
Yeah.
And like you said, you mentioned going back to lead GM, of course. I mean, one other reason that I'm super anti-trading so many people is our team chemistry right now is incredible. And I think that our super strong team chemistry and the fact that it seems like our team has maybe kind of used the Darvin Ham stuff as kind of like a trauma team bonding. It has really just upped their play on the court. And I really think that D'Lo is one of the biggest indicators of that. And yeah, like every player is agreeing with it. Clearly in the locker room, they all have just such an amazing chemistry that I don't think it's worth risking trading another player. We have seen how volatile players can be and how much they can absolutely ruin the Lakers specifically and their on-court abilities.
No shade to Westbrook thrown out there from you. I'll catch it.
No, definitely not. That had nothing to do with him. I have no idea what you're talking about.
But D'Lo also had some comments recently, speaking as to what you said, just regarding the media headlines, to give them something new to talk about trades and all that, but you got to talk about me making shots at some point, so I try to keep doing that. So, he's been in a bunch of trade rumors, and he said the vibes are coming back a little bit. Again, Lakers have been losing games this season, not in the place in the standings where they want to be, but the vibes seem to be percolating a little bit. Again, Darvin Ham, lots of question marks regarding his coaching style, things have been going on, but at least with D'Lo now, players are supporting him amongst all these rumors. But again, you do have to look at Dejounte Murray as a guy, similar age, 21 points per game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Clearly not a fit around a Trae Young in terms of maximizing his play style. You have him under contract longer term. Again, more expensive than D'Lo, but Dejounte Murray's a guy that brings up both ends of the court. So there's that trade-off, and some might argue, even, we can finish this off with a little debate here now at this point, play a little devil's advocate, because I like the ice in my veins. I like D'Lo watching him play and stuff, but this could be a prime time to sell high on D'Lo because we know how up and down he is over the course of his, not just Lakers career, but NBA career in general. So his value's kind of sky high now at this point, I feel like, because there is contract flexibility, even though it's kind of a high number for someone that struggled in the playoffs last year, but definitely sort of has that sort of value in terms of if he does play poorly, he's not going to completely tank your books for the rest of your future, not a Ben Simmons-esque contract, but D'Lo is a guy, defensively, we know how much Ham values the defensive end of the floor and how he benches guys that kind of are struggling on that end. So, I mean, maybe you sell high, maybe you find a third team, get some assets, not have to give up, those first round picks. Again, referring to this, the Hawks are messing around, and they might find out now with Dejounte Murray and everything going on along those lines. So we'll see what happens about that. But Jaya, what's your take? What's your final take on this? You get offered Dejounte Murray for a package just centered around D'Lo, not really that much draft capital. I mean, I'd assume we'd have to throw in something along those lines to make a deal happen, but you saying yes or no, because Dejounte is a very good two-way basketball player that would definitely, maybe not in the fans' eyes because he's less flashy and stuff like that, but definitely in the defensive end, Ham will like a lot more. You accepting that deal or not?
I am not. I know it's a controversial take, but I am really just so pro D'Lo. I think we should keep him, especially because you also don't know how Murray is going to play with AR and how that chemistry can mess up. Because really, D'Lo and AR just have such a great passing and the whole thing going on the court, and I don't think it's worth risking that. Plus, right now, D'Lo's threes are just out of control, and I think he can only stay at this level or get better. And he's got higher 3-point percentages than Dejounte Murray, and scoring, at least right now, since Ham is prioritizing our defense, is something that it looks like we should kind of keep around for a bit. Also, with LeBron potentially retiring soon, I don't think we should be giving up as many draft picks right now as we are thinking about. I think we'll need those draft picks later on, and we should be holding on to them a bit more.
Exactly.
But I'm very pro D'Lo, anti-trading. Like I said, I'm kind of the Grinch right now when it comes to any potential trades.
Yeah, those picks definitely be valuable, for star players that might come on in the future. We'll see what happens with LeBron and his sort of future. I know a video just came out on that recently, but folks, you guys have to make this far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. We'll be covering all the latest news, heading into this year's trade deadline. But we're signing out. Cheers.